Hello, folks. Okay, here I am with Sean, BlueTechMobileDetailing.com. If you want to find you. You are a beginner detailer, and one of the things that is often asked of me, because I do train and mentor a lot of guys, is looking professional and specifically uniforms.
Yeah.
I have a couple videos that talk about it. I have not really addressed it at length because I wanted to find a solution for people so that they could look professional. So one of the, obviously it's probably not showing up very well on camera, but you have your company t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Answer me this. What was your thoughts about having what you could call a uniform or a company t-shirt? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I thought it was very important to have.
Important.
Yeah.
Because...
So I look professional.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
You want to look professional. And once again, the experience is always about the details. Often guys will become so fixated on all these other things of starting a detailing business that they forget about the basic things that they can literally do in the moment.
Right.
Now the challenge with t-shirts is that as a beginner, you're probably working on a very limited budget. Was that true for you?
Yes.
So, okay, I want to look professional, but I don't really have money to sink into uniforms. Because as a rule, if you're to go to a local screen printer or a company that produces this type of stuff, they would have what's called minimum. It's like, oh yeah, we could do shirts for you, but our minimum is 24 pieces. You're like, 24? I would never even wear 24 shirts.
Right.
I can't afford 24 shirts. I just can barely afford one shirt. And I'm not even sure if I can afford that. But because of the internet and all these services, now you literally can buy a single t-shirt that's custom branded for you.
Yeah.
So you found a service called
Vista Print.
Vista Print. I'm very familiar with them. They also do business cards, brochures. They pretty much do everything. The cool thing is that you can order a single t-shirt. So tell me about your experience with Vista Print.
Well, Vista Print I think is okay company, but not a good experience, I think. I mean, the quality of the shirt is not the best. Again, I can't complain for the price.
And you were telling me that I think you paid like 17 or 19, somewhere around there.
I paid $17 only because I originally ordered business cards for them, and they gave me a discount because I said if you order, I was about to check out, and the guys, and it's like a little ad that says,
oh, but wait, would you like to order 500 business cards for only X amount of dollars more, or you can get your t-shirt for $17 instead of $25, and we're going to throw in 500 free business cards for you.
Right.
Was it something like that?
Something similar to that, and basically I decided to go ahead and do it.
Okay.
I need one, so, but yeah, I got it. Now, there's a catch to it. It does say it's $17, but you still got to pay for shipping.
Right.
I went ahead and went with the free option, and it took a month to get it to my house.
Okay, so roughly $17 plus shipping and handling is usually what they call it.
Yeah.
And you had to wait a month.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like what's called the unattainable pyramid. Cost, speed, quality. You get to pick two. Yeah. So, sounds like in this one, you probably only picked one.
Yeah,
you just got what you wanted.
Right.
But the cost was more than you wanted to pay. Yeah. And the speed certainly wasn't there. So, it's a big hurdle for guys because I'm all about looking professional. I teach it in a lot of my videos. It's like, hey guys, you got to look the part.
Yeah.
Because if you accept, and there's endless studies and research done on this subject.
Right.
Communication, how we communicate as a species, called the human species, based on who you listen to, is 7% verbal. So that means that like, oh, well, communication, that has all to do with the words that come out of your mouth. So I'm going to describe to you why I chose this phone, and I'm going to do it with words. And you're going to get a certain message across. It may not be the exact message I want to get across, but it's going to happen through verbally communicating.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the communication is only 7% words. You're like, okay, well that leaves 93% left up to what? Well, that's where mannerisms comes in. Like, for example, eye contact, my voice tonality, the words that I choose to use, how I present myself, how I'm holding myself. All these things is information that your brain is processing. Some of it at the conscious level, but most of it is at the subconscious level. So you will interpret that. You just may not be consciously interpreting it. So this is where professionalism or looking professional comes into the picture.
Yeah.
So if you show up in dirty clothes, let's say you're wearing, I don't know, some surf, let's say a Hurley t-shirt, you just look unprofessional.
Yeah.
Now the customer's not necessarily going to look at you and say, oh, dude, you look so unprofessional, I don't want to use you anymore.
Yeah.
That's unlikely to happen, but it will leave an impression on their head and or in their mind. Most guys accept that that is how it works because most of us as people, we make these judgment calls either consciously or subconsciously with every person we deal with. And this would automatically bleed into what's called authority.
Yeah.
Like, do I represent someone with authority?
Right.
Authority in a good way. As in, am I a professional? Do I know what I'm talking about? Do I represent someone that's speaking with authority? So those are all these, what I call the intangibles of communication. So when it comes to uniforms, guys realize, hey, I would probably look more professional if I had a company t-shirt.
Right.
But I don't have the budget to do a run of 24 shirts. I recognize the problem because it was a subject that came up so frequently in dealing with guys just like yourself. Beginners that want to get into the business or have been into the business but are just starting out. And it's just like, okay, so for example, I have the budget, like I have all types of shirts. I've got t-shirts, I've got collared shirts.
Tank tops,
Actually, I don't do any tank tops.
Oh, okay.
I did back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I've got these, like, I don't know what you want to call this, a pullover type of shirt. So I've got this whole apparel of auto fetish shirts. And I've been doing shirts probably 25 years. I think the first, let's say 5 years if I was in business, I didn't have the budget for it either. So the goal is I'm going to give you guys a couple answers as to how to get what you want, which is look more professional because I think it is important.
Right.
You are communicating to the customer in a non-verbal way information. So you can either communicate to them that yes, I am worthy of your trust, I am worthy of your business. Right. So everything you say and do, all these forms of communication are going to either be positive or negative.
Yeah.
The goal is to ultimately have as much of that communication be positive. You want to create a positive impact with not only the world, but your customer specifically. So you have to think, if you want to, once again, it's all about the details. It's like, okay, every single moment of my exchange with this customer, from the moment I talk to him on the phone or the moment I talk to him in person or do both, is I have an opportunity to either gain and develop their trust, to come across as an authority, or I have the ability to diminish that and chip away at that.
Right.
So I'm pretty certain most guys out there are thinking, well, of course I want to grow the trust. I want to develop that trust. It's like, okay, then you probably want to look professional. Right. But how do you do it on a shoestring budget? So there's a couple answers to that. When you and I were talking about it before we turned that camera on, one of the things that you did when you first started out, do you remember what you told me?
Yeah, I used to wear either a black shirt or a white shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah, so,
and no printing on it, right?
No print, no.
So to me, that is one of my suggestions to guys that literally have zero budget. Right. It's like, okay, keep it simple. Go to Target, go to Walmart, wherever. Just get a plain t-shirt. Right. Now, if I had to make a choice, exactly, why would you go black?
This shirt is a perfect example. I got this white shirt because I thought it looked nice, but the problem with it is you can't tell on camera, but if you look close, it has a lot of stains on already. They don't come off. And doesn't matter how many times you wash it, it looks bad. It looks like you didn't wash it.
It becomes dingy, faded, and by faded I mean really just it's like it attracts dirt, and you can't get that dirt out completely.
Yes, and then black is perfect because the area that's the dirtiest are the rims. And every time I do rims, I get splashed with black dust brake all over it.
Brake dust,
yeah. So black is awesome because
it conceals all the dirt.
Yeah.
Like you could wear it for probably a week and no one would be able to tell. Unless it smelled so badly that they could smell you before you showed up at the door.
Right.
So I am a fan of dark colors. Of course, everything has trade-offs. So if you're working in a part of the country that gets very hot and you're wearing a black shirt, it's going to absorb more of the sun's UV radiation and it's going to be a little hotter. But to me, because it's a t-shirt, it kind of becomes irrelevant because I would much rather look cleaner and be a little hotter rather than be a little cooler but look dirtier. Does that make sense? So that would be the bare minimum plan. But what I will add to that that is because most guys, unlike women, because the joke around my house is that I'm half woman and half guy. A lot of things that I'm into, like design, fashion, shoes, that type of stuff, is very woman-like, which, whatever, I don't care.
Right.
Because I'm a very creative thinker. So a lot of guys are clueless when it comes to how to dress. So right now we've just addressed, no pun intended, the top half of your body.
Yeah.
What about the lower half? As in what kind of shorts or what kind of pants? Now when you're working, you want something that you can actually move and be flexible in.
Yeah.
So often guys will choose shorts, which is perfectly fine.
Right.
Maybe they'll choose pants. The point I'm going to get at is what color of pants do you choose?
Right.
And this is where guys will often fail because they're not into fashion. They don't know how to color coordinate things.
Right.
And so they will mix and match colors that don't necessarily play well.
Yeah.
Now, some people out there in viewer land will be thinking like, wow, dude, you're so overthinking it. It's like, that's fine. If you think that's overthinking it, then maybe detailing's probably not for you anyways.
Right.
Because it is all about the details.
Yeah.
And when it comes to professionalism, because this is where I'm going to now, this is a little sidebar, I'm going to default to my rule of 60-40. So when it comes to success as a detailer, 40% of it, and this is my own numbers based on experience, 40% of it, of that equation of success, whatever that means to you, is based on what I call the more tangibles of the industry.
Yeah.
Like the products, your product knowledge, your techniques, how you use your techniques, the skill set of the hands-on process. That's 40% of it, which if you know math, if you're talking about 100% of the equation, 40% is in the minority of the other part of the equation, which is 60%. 60% is what I call the intangibles. Your communication skills, how you present yourself, your website, your professionalism, how you talk, how you speak, your tonality. All those things are the intangibles, things that you can't necessarily touch and feel. So even though you can touch and feel a t-shirt, it's not part of, gee, how good can I clean a car?
Yeah.
Because how good you clean a car has nothing to do with what you're wearing, really.
Right.
Once again, success, 60% are the intangibles. So this comes under the heading of that 60% part of the equation. So at a bare minimum, dress generic. Pick a dark colored solid t-shirt that's not going to show the staining, it's not going to show the dirt as you're working or as you wash it, and some of those stains aren't going to come out. You want to be able to wear it repeatedly. And I don't mean for weeks at a time between washings. I just mean it's going to hide the dirt. So pick something dark. So medium to dark. Secondly, whatever you pick as far as your lower half of your body, whether it's shorts or pants, pick something that goes well with it. And I brought some few examples. But here's some of my apparel, different logos, because it seems to be my pattern after being in business for as long as I have that I tend to redo my logo every few years. Now, some people would be like, dude, you can't ever redo your logo. And that's just a subjective call. I could pull up many examples of massive companies that have changed their logo over the years.
Coke. For example, Coke and Pepsi.
Coke and Pepsi, Bank of America, Del Taco. These are just examples. Even McDonald's, they've changed it. They've also changed their tagline. So it can happen. Because I'm creative, I get bored with the logo. It's like, hey, I love the name. I'm not going to change that. That's different. Like McDonald's isn't suddenly going to say like, oh, we're Bob's Burgers. It's like, well, who the hell's that? It's like, no, we're McDonald's, Golden Arches, but now we're going to change the arches a little bit, and now we're going to change our tagline. Which I don't remember what it is. Anyhow, so...
I'm loving it.
Oh, I'm loving it. There you go. So I've done different shirts over the years. So this was my logo at one point. This was my logo at another point. This was my logo at another point. Now, just to clarify, I did apparel that I could wear while I'm working, but I also did apparel that I could give away as kind of a thank you, as a promotion type of thing. So I did print white shirts because a lot of guys, when they're just wearing a white shirt out in the public, just casually, they'll pick white because white basically goes with everything. So I did print up white shirts to hand out to people. I did not wear them as a rule because I could see how easily they got dirty. Were you going to say something?
Yes, and that's actually a really good point that Darren made because my wife wears a white company shirt, but she wears it as free, as basically advertising. So whenever she goes to shopping at Costco or any grocery store, she always wears my company shirts.
Oh, nice.
So it's always advertising. It's a
Yeah.
walking billboard. So.
Right. Very good.
That's what I was going to say.
Very good. So that's part of, I mean, if you were to reduce it down to the simple, the two main purposes that it serves having a company shirt is one, you look professional.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's a form of advertising.
It is.
Now, I've yet to have any person ever come up to me and say, oh, auto detailing.
Right.
Really what they asked me is like, auto fetish, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So if I don't have like a phone number, all that stuff on it, they're gonna be like, oh, what's auto fetish about? And then I can explain it.
Right.
But they don't come up and say, oh, wow, I've been looking for a detailer. I noticed you're wearing a detailing shirt.
Yeah.
Do you have your card or anything? I've never had it happen, but it doesn't mean it can't still serve a purpose for that. So when it comes down to matching clothes, my rule is this. For example, I do not mix blue with black. For some reason, and there's plenty of people that will disagree, because when it comes to color choice, aside from a what would be the word I could use, utilitarian, as in practicality, as in getting dirty versus not getting dirty, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to color coordinating, it's very subjective. It's very personal. So for me, I wear shorts. We live in Southern California. We've got a very moderate climate here. Not really, we don't experience too much of the extremes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much going to wear shorts year round. So I pick shorts, like my basic 3 color choices are gray, black, and tan.
Yeah.
So tan, and when I do shirts that I'm going to wear, my basic colors are going to be gray, black, and red. Those are my 3 basic color choices because, for example, red will go with every one of these colors very well.
Yeah.
Black will go with every one of these colors, but what I avoid doing is I avoid wearing black with black, because you would be surprised at the tones of black, where suddenly you're like, wow, this black makes that black look kind of blue.
Yeah.
Is that blue or is that black? I don't want that confusion. And once again, many guys would think like, dude, you're so overthinking the details. It's like, well, this comes natural to me because I just naturally interpret this. It's like, no, that just doesn't work for me in my world. So, but these 3 colors are basic. And for example, these shorts, they're very basic shorts. And they, even though they're casual shorts, like I could wear these to the beach. This is actually put out by a brand that's a surf brand, but it's a very generic short that looks professional. In the context that I'm a detailer, I'm going to get dirty. It's kind of like a plumber. A plumber's not going to show up in a suit and tie because it would be inappropriate. But is he going to show up in plaid shorts or some Bermuda plaid shorts? Probably not, because it's like, dude, did you come here to work or did you come here to hang out?
Yeah.
So it's all about that professionalism. So I keep it simple when it comes to shorts, just like I would keep it simple if I chose pants.
Right.
Like Dickies is a brand that's very popular.
Right.
They're very sturdy. They're not overly expensive, and you can get them in solid colors that look professional, and they go well with an assortment of colors.
Yeah.
So that's my little talk track on color selection. Black goes with any one of these colors. Some people think like, oh, black and tan, that doesn't seem to go. It's like, well, if you look around, it actually does. Like there's many cars that have black paint, tan interior.
Like my car.
Your car.
Yeah.
So it actually works well in the fashion world, just like red would work well with tan, red would work well with gray. Now gray, like this for example, this is a dark gray versus a light gray shirt. To me that works well, because even though they're both gray, this is a dark gray, this is a lighter gray, and so there's a very marked difference between the 2 grays. Okay, so the next thing I want to cover is, okay, let's say you have a budget that goes from 0 to a tiny, tiny bit. So that's where I created some designs, because that's where my creativity also helps me, is that I'm very good at designing stuff.
Yeah.
So you talked about that, where you're like, oh, I didn't know how to design a shirt, I didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
And that's tough for a lot of guys, because if you're not a creative person like that, you struggle. It's like, what font do I use? How big should it be?
Yeah.
What would be the positioning?
Right.
What do I put on it?
Right.
Do I put it on the front? Do I put it on the back? So what I did is I created, and I'm going to simplify this, let's say 10 different designs so that I could fulfill this need for guys just like yourself.
Yeah.
and it's at a website called Teespring. So you can buy a single shirt, and what I did is I just took some of my own trademarks. For example, Shine Reign Supreme, Swirl Free Guarantee, I'm a detailer, I will obsess about the details, those types of things that are very specific to the detailing world, but are generic enough that you could wear it as a company shirt, look professional, and play the part, but it's not going to break the bank because you don't have to buy 24 pieces. So below this video, you will find a link. It will go to my storefront, Auto Fetish Detail at Teesprings. You can pick from, let's say, about 10 different designs. Like one of them says really big. You know how like you'll see guys that are bouncers, and it will say security really big across the front. So I have one that says detailer really big across the front. It's like, oh, what do you do? Detailing maybe? So it was a way to fulfill that need for guys without breaking the bank. I think the shirts sell for like 20 bucks. I think you can get sweatshirts because I chose all this in advance. I chose the colors. And then so you, as in them, can go on that site. They can pick and choose, and you can buy a single shirt. It's not going to break the bank. You're going to look professional. You can do some kind of advertising, even though it's not specific to your business itself. People are going to know what you do. So that was my solution to help guys like you, because I know what it was like. I remember thinking, oh gosh, it's like I'm going to show up in just this like I don't know what kind of shirt. It's going to look, I'm going to feel so unprofessional. Because that's also part of the side effect of looking the part, is it actually helps your confidence as a detailer. Because when you're beginning, I mean, let's admit it. I know for myself, I lacked a lot of confidence. I was very insecure. It's like, oh my gosh, and I'm so afraid, I'm gonna mess up, and all this stuff's going through your head. So if I can at least fix this problem, that's one less thing I can worry about. So if I know that I look at least professional, it's just like, okay, that's going to add a level of confidence to me, to a person that's already lacking in confidence to begin with, especially as a newbie. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so cool. You've got your own shirt. I know you have different shirts.
Well,
now
I don't wear this anymore. I just brought this for today.
So you started out with white. You kind of learn like, okay, white's probably not the best choice. Now you go with dark colors. So good for you. Like I said, guys, if you want to check it out, there'll be a link below this video. Show more. Click on it, it will expand. There'll be a link. It will take you to Teesprings. And also in my YouTube channel itself, there's different links. If you go to the About Me page, where I've got, well, you'll see them. Different links for different things that are useful to guys like yourself.
Cool.
So, till next time, we will see you guys in the next video.